Welcome to another edition of Interruptions. I'm your host, Otis Smith. Today, I got a treat. I got my man, Merle Hodges, former NFL player with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got my mentor. I got Mr. 88, Doc Walker, former of the Washington Redskins, but now the Washington Commanders. We're discussing the day 2022 Super Bowl between the LA Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. How you fellas doing?
Good.
We're good, my friend.
I appreciate you guys coming on, man. You guys have blessed me with the quality of life that you guys live. And of course, I've always been a fan of you guys when you guys played and in the media. And you're partly the reason why I started my own podcast so I can, control the narrative myself. Also coming in, waiting on him to turn the camera, but he just came in. There's also former Atlanta Falcons Terrence Mathis is joining the show.
I'm coming. Hold on.
So he's coming in. But my first question, there he is. There he is.
What's going on, fellas?
What's happening?
What's up,
How's
Terrence?
everybody?
Good.
Everybody's good. Everybody good. So I just introduced everybody. So my first question for you guys before we get into the Super Bowl is, what did you guys think about the 2021 season? What was some thoughts that you guys from the first game into leading up to the Super Bowl? What did you guys think? What kind of season did the NFL have?
Well, first of all, I thought, right away, 17 games, I was wondering how that was going to happen and how healthy teams were going to be going into, that extra week of playing football. But, towards the end, the season got really exciting, and that 17th week and that 17th game really mattered. So I thought 2021 was a good year. We've seen some rookies step up. We've seen some young players start to play well, and we've seen the old guard play well and step away. So 2021, it was kind of bittersweet.
What was your thoughts, Mary?
I think.
Oh, Doc.
No, I was just thinking COVID. How they dealt with COVID is amazing. That influx of 7-on-7 in high school. Mm-hmm. You saw the residual effect that started close to 10 years ago. So now an NFL quarterback and a wide receiver, they're not rookies. These cats have caught more passes and thrown more passes than our generation did in an entire career. So they hit the ground going because they've had more reps. I came up in a run-centric era.
Right.
I'm surprised Merrill can turn his neck. So now, because it was, so that's over. Now everything's empty backfield on goal line. Short yardage is empty. So
that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. But you're right. That's crazy. Empty back on the goal line. What was your thoughts, Mara? What did you feel?
Well, to kind of piggyback Terrence a little bit. I came in the league in 1987. It always seemed like there was going to be a couple teams, and that's pretty much how it was. And the parity that the league has now, I think it's good for the league. It's nice to see Cincinnati to be in the Super Bowl after they haven't been there in 30 years. And, to piggyback on Doc a little bit, and Terrence, when we lose, great players, there's a lot of people, a lot of fans like, I'm so glad Tom Brady's retired. I'm like, well, at the end of the day, when Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger retires, that hurts the league.
Right.
At the end of the day, when you lose good players, that's not good. It's not, we're not going to keep them forever.
Right.
But to see what is coming in behind, from a Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, there's real hope there. And that's why I'm talking about parity. We lose a couple great ones of all time. And now when you look at the young players that are coming up, there is a lot of excitement too. So you don't know how to rate a season, but based on how the playoffs unfolded, and just the entire season, to Doc's point, the COVID for 2 years, how they've managed that, has been incredible. And, now let's just hope that the Super Bowl, and more than likely the Super Bowl should live up to, you can't control things like turnovers and injuries, but if it's a clean game, I mean, it seems set up to be very indicative of how the season has been all year. Very close, probably comes down to the team with the ball at the last, probably, and who knows if it doesn't go into overtime.
It's funny because parity is what I thought, because in the NFC, the last 2 weeks, you had about 4 or 5 teams that could still get into the playoffs. So you guys, right, that parity, it really makes it exciting too, because you can still root for your team. You can still, see who's going to step up to the plate and who's going to falter. What do you guys see would be the Bengals, their strength? What do you think for this game? What is their strength that they could try to take advantage of the Rams?
Wait, before we go any further, I'm sitting over here just so giddy because I'm looking at Doc and I'm looking at Merle and I'm going, guys, I'm still a kid. I'm looking at you guys, I'm fans, and I'm looking and I'm going, you don't understand, dude. I got chill bumps right now. That's how much
just so you know, I'm a fan then too. I mean, you as a wide receiver, I mean, like I was doing ESPN during your entire career,
right?
And I just always remember, your how you played the game and how you played at the wide receiver position. It was always a part of our tape study. Now, I don't get into highlights, because TV lies and highlights really like.
Right.
One thing I've been able to do in this league is watch tape on till you see the real. I mean, what really makes it fundamentally a good player, no matter what their position. And you are always on our radar. I'm telling you, in your entire career, you were on our radar for the type of receiver you were. So it's mutual, my friend.
Guys, you just don't know, man. I'm still a kid at heart about the game. I respect the game. I respect those that played before me. I respect those that play now, but I respect those who paved the way for me to have the opportunity to play 13 years at a high level. So thank you, guys. You probably don't hear that enough, but I want to say thank you.
Terrence, I hate to interrupt, but I know this about the Super Bowl, but I wish more players were like you. I wish more players were like Terrence, because I've always believed I'll give you an example. You guys will appreciate this. I'm sitting in the locker room and I see Mel Blount comes walking in. Okay, now Mel Blount comes walking in. I know who Mel Blount is. I'm walking next to Donnie Shell. Oh, and our defensive line coach is Joe Green. Okay, so they're around. They're in my environment, and as a kid, I mean, I loved the Pittsburgh Steelers. I loved every one of those guys. But what's almost appalling now? I mean, Mel Blount will walk in, and there'll be some actually DBs too, by the way. Who's that?
Yeah.
I'm like, he changed the game. Okay, he's not just a Hall of Famer. He changed the game.
Yeah.
How you don't know that?
Yeah.
Which I think this, to your point, what I'm trying to say is your deep appreciation. You can see it, you can feel it. And everybody who played this game, whether Hall of Fame or not, did something to help impact it at some level. Even if it's just your own little hometown that somebody watched you and were motivated by it, that was an impact. And I've always just been like, gosh darn, man, he's, the millions you're making are guys back in Doc's day, because I call myself a bridge player. Like I came in 87, but I went out in 94. So I came in and, my roommate was Mike Webster.
Wow.
I locked her next to Donnie Shell. And, but I left, I was a free agent and I went and signed for the Chicago Bears. So I know what now the free agency money back then is gas money today.
Exactly. I remember.
But at the end of the day, here's how you create perspective. When I came into the league in 1987, the highest paid player in the National Football League, who was my idol as a kid, was Walter Payton. Made $1 million.
Wow.
$1 million Walter Payton was making in 1987. In 1994, when I went to sign for the Chicago Bears, I got $1 million to sign. and a 3-year, $3 million deal, which was, I came in and made $70,000 my first year. So I made 70 grand my first year. I'm making $1 million a year, almost say roughly 10 years later. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I signed, okay, if I make $1 million, what's Walter Payton worth?
Yes.
He's worth 10.
Right.
At least back in that year, like in 1994. Yeah. So, and I've never forgot that because I like, people like, Doc, Walter Payton, all those guys and guys that we don't, that aren't household names, help create that opportunity for us.
Helped us. Yes. Really.
Joe Theismann made $300,000. Jarris White, our corner, made $300,000 was the top.
Wow.
And that's the Super Bowl championship team. And it's like, when you do work the league now and you see these guys, and I'm happy for them, although I realize that the stockbrokers and the money managers are going to make all the profit.
Yeah.
And most of these guys will be, unfortunately, broke, but they won't have a background because when Merrill got in the game, there were still guys that had side jobs. Larry Brown was an insurance guy. Mosley had a boot company. Joe was in a restaurant. That's why I got right in I thought, well, that's what you got to do. You have to bridge. I worked while I played. I covered the team while I played.
Right.
I worked at night. I mean, I figured this is short term for whatever reason. And I got to have a base because that's what the vets were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's normal. Now these kids, they make so much, they really don't have to do anything. And that's bad. Just like the money now we're paying college kids.
Yes.
Part of my closest relationship with all our dudes at UCLA was we all broke together. And you grow with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, we're sharing stuff. I mean, it's amazing. These kids won't get to experience any of that.
Right.
And
no struggle.
that with the gambling influx now, I don't know how it can't be a disaster.
Right.
What's funny, Alonzo Smith said something to me. He said the NIL, he said a lot of them going to be upset because you're going to pay money for a guy and then they're going to find out he can't play. And you're going to want your money back because you're basically.
If you hit, that guy, they're doing for life. They're talking about 10% of your for life.
Right.
All you got to do is get one quarterback or one run. I mean, I don't know. I'm hopeful, but we're so mismanaged.
Right.
The league, in my opinion, is so poorly run and so poorly managed, individual teams. That's why the same teams are usually in the winner's circle or around it because it's a structure of management. And now that we identify mental illness, there's only a few teams that have psychologists on the facility full time. There's a lot going. It's just like the country. It mirrors the country.
It does.
We have some people that have no common sense in positions of power, and the thing about it being, it's never been equal and never will be equal. But I just think this going, and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm usually not. And I just cannot see this at some points being disastrous until we get it under control and figure out how to monitor and regulate it.
That's why, and Merrill, just so you know, this is one of the reasons I named the show Interruptions, because sometimes interruptions just get interrupted. So,
it's just it's where you feel at the time,
I don't. Doc knows. I don't. Wherever you take it, that's where we go.
Football is football, but the human spirit and the way you feel about others should be known. You should let people know how you feel about them. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, relationships. When I get off of this, I'm gonna go downstairs to my wife and say, guess what? She gonna say who? I'm gonna say, look it up. Then she's gonna go, oh.
That is that. I mean, but Terrence, I was glad that you did that, and only because I always feel like that. When I'm talk to you on the phone, or if I developed a friend. Man, listen, I interviewed Doc Walker because I always wanted to interview Doc, and then a friendship came out of it. Like, Doc could tell you, we'd be on Twitter going back and forth. I'm like, hey man, look, they need the XYZ, and Doc could come back and give me the real, and then Merrill gave me a compliment when I interviewed him the first time that it just stuck with me. So when you get these type of relationships. And what was so crazy about it, Merrill, once again, thank you, because at the end of the interview, when I interviewed Merrill the first time, I said, I always wrap it up by saying, thank you for coming on the show. Love to have you back, right? And Merrill said, all he said to me, he said, man, anytime you need me, brother, just call me.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And all I did was reach out last week on Instagram. And I just said, hey, let's do a thing on Super Bowl. He said, I got you. Like, and Doc the same way. And then you. And what's so funny, Terrence, because Alonzo said he may not be able to get on, Alonzo Highsmith, I just text Doc the interview I did with Alonzo, because he knows I always send him stuff that I do. And then I say, oh, by the way, we're going to do a Super Bowl discussion at 7 p.m. If you could get on. He gave me thumbs up, say, send me the link. I was like, you cannot make this stuff up. So when you was talking about being appreciative of those two guys, it just reminded me of myself. So to see someone that played in the league like them, being appreciative, of what they've done as well, it's just a beautiful thing to see that, nobody takes it for granted, and that they know that they had an impact on people's lives. So that's a beautiful thing. So I appreciate you mentioning that. So
you're welcome.
But no, I was just curious on you guys' take of what you think what would be the Bengals' strength that they could use to try to beat the Rams.
Is probably, I think if they play a little up tempo with the Rams, a little bit with that offense they have, with all the weapons they have, they got a good running back and Mixon. They got T. Higgins. They got Jamar Chase, and then you got Joe Cool. And I think they're gonna have to do some things to try to eliminate the pass rush of that front four, because all they're gonna do is send four, because that's how good that front four is. And we know that the Bengals offensive line has given up a lot of sacks this year.
Right.
And that front four is licking their chops, thinking we can make some history Sunday night Super Bowl. So I think, a little up tempo, get the ball out quick, get them tired a little bit, and ball control. When I say up tempo and ball control, receiver screens, running back screens, dink and dunk, and then until they come up and then throw it over top. But I think you're going to have to, it's hard to say, hey, let's keep that defense on the field, but you have to, because when Matthew Stafford and those guys come on field, they can score in one play. So, I think that, you just got to wear out that defensive front of the Rams for the Bengals to have a chance to win this football game.
What are you thinking, Merrill?
Well, to kind of piggyback what Terrence said, here's what I've loved about Cincinnati, because they're in the same division with the Steelers. And I do stuff with the Steelers during the year. I have to stay on top of not just the Steelers, but the division. And really, if you're going to do it right, you got to stay on top of the whole league. So the one thing that Cincinnati, actually, there's two things that they have gotten completely ignored on. I still think they were the best offense in all of football, even when they went to play Kansas City, for these reasons. And to win a championship, you have to have a lot of phases, a lot of ways you can play. Okay. So Terrence has just mentioned a couple that if you play on the perimeter, so Aaron Donald, okay, does Aaron Donald want to be running sideline to sideline when that ball comes out? No, that's what Terrence is talking about. I'm not going to do a 5-step drop and let Aaron Donald get into a rhythm. I'm going to get the ball in my hand, 3-step or quick. I'm in the gun, and that ball's going over there. And where's Aaron Donald going? Over there. And then I'm going to do a screen. Where's he going to go? Over there. So, and the other part that they have been incredible at, and everybody acts like they're going to throw the ball 70 times. He just mentioned Joe Mixon. Yes. Ask the Ravens 2 times how they felt about him. Ask the Steelers 2 times how they felt. Ask the Raiders what they think. Ask the Kansas City Chiefs with 5 minutes left or a few minutes left what they think about Joe Mixon when they couldn't stop their running game, when we just started smashing them. Right. So they can play. My point is they can play with so many different phases. And I actually think Terrence is spot on from, listen, you got to block Aaron Donald. There's going to be times, yes, you got to block him. Is he going to have moments where he wins? Yes, because he's a unique freak. You cannot ultimately control him the entire game. But if we could go about a play, I call it play calling him or game planning him, as Terrence mentioned, and make him play in a way he doesn't want to play,
Right.
I can take a little of the steam out, and that's where 2 weeks of advantage does help. I think it helps the Bengals more than the Rams. At the end of the day, Aaron Donald's got 4 spots that he's going to beat. Okay, and then they move him around. At the end of the day, there's a variety of ways Cincinnati could go about helping him. We played Lawrence Taylor. Terrence, you probably did too. I don't know. Well, no, you know.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor's probably gone.
I did.
Did you? Okay, so listen, when you played Lawrence Taylor, or you played Reggie White, that practice, that week preparation, if not 2, 3 guys were committed to that guy in certain situations. If the running back was to the Lawrence Taylor side, by rule, you didn't run a route. If your guy didn't come, you helped out. If you were uncovered, say the guard and Taylor's to your side, you help out too. You do your job, but you help out too. So anytime you could have 3 guys on Lawrence Taylor. So you have to do those things. But then there's times when we get down in scoring territory. We're on the 20-yard line or 15-yard line, and we do a 3-step drop. And I'm responsible for blocking Lawrence Taylor. Now, what my job was, I just go up and try to cut Lawrence Taylor, but it's very clear. Quarterback, you at the top of your drop, you better get rid of the football.
Get rid of it.
Merrill's blocking Lawrence Taylor by himself. So there's some, but there's all these different ways that you can try to help take care of Aaron Donald. A guy called, you remember Tom Moore? Does that name sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay. So Tom Moore, he was my first offensive coordinator. He orchestrated Peyton Manning's entire career in Indianapolis.
Cool.
He's one of the greatest coaches. Anyway, I remember playing Chicago Bears, Richard Dent. I remember that, but in our game plan, he's like, here's what we're going to do the first game, almost what Terrence was talking about, because he said, you know why we're going to do this? Richard Dent doesn't want to play like this. Richard Dent hates playing like this. Richard Dent does not want to run outside the hash mark.
Right.
He doesn't want to play louder. He wants to get after, so we're not going to let him do that. And I'm going to tell you this, within the first quarter, we had Richard Dent, absolutely frustrated, where he was like, you could see it in his body language. He's like, this is not what I want to play. So I just think there's a lot of value in that, and Cincinnati can play like that. I just think they're a unique offense with a lot of ways to play. They're just not one-dimensional.
Yeah.
The best thing I like about them is that they have 2 backs. You're going to have to run. If I take the 49ers mantra, we're going to be out more physical than the Rams. The one thing Cincinnati going for them, they got them big old hogs up front, and you got to say, and Aaron's not the biggest guy in the camp. They don't have a lot of lead in their bottom.
Right.
They're athletic.
Yeah.
Give me that athletic guy anytime over a goon, because we want to be the goons. And so by running right at him and start blooding his nose early on, I'm committing to, I don't have to throw a pass. I want to let them know it's going to be a dogfight early on. And if we can get 2 first downs, point our way, allow our defense to come in or actually score, then for a long afternoon. That's why the 49ers won 6 out of 7. It's because when it comes down to it, the way you beat cute is to punch it in the face over and over. And then when you got Burrow, because they can be both. They're ambidextrous. Yeah. But I'd come out first bully ball. It's all bully ball. And I come out 2 tight ends. 2 tight ends, put it on the wing. I would go on the goal line and say, okay, let's roll. Let's see how bad you really want this. And that's not their style. They don't want that. And I'd see what happens. If they don't turn it over, they got a shot to win the game, because the Rams have still got to prove they can take something. That was good against the Niners, but it was 6 out of 7. Nobody beats a badass 6 out of 7 times. I don't give a damn who you are. I ain't never heard of it before. I've never seen it before. So that's why the Bengals have a big chance.
Let me ask you guys this, and Terrence, it goes to you first. So I want to, because all you guys got into scheme. My thoughts were just a little different, Doc. I still want to run the ball like you said, Doc. But let me ask you guys this. What about also? I'm talking about for the entirety of the game. Even running, going trips, left or right, doesn't matter. Stack the receivers to force Jalen Rams to pick a receiver. Like, in other words, he can't lock on Jamar Chase, or he can't lock on T. Higgins, because they're stacked.
Well, I think that's something that the Bengals don't do. Here's the thing about this game.
Okay.
Is this. Don't do anything that you have never done before the whole
Gotcha.
year. Don't change up your personality, because once you change up your personality, it just doesn't work. And
I got you.
I'm just telling you, we played the Super Bowl 33 against the Broncos. We changed up our personality, Doc and Merle, and we didn't look like the same football team that we looked like when we had that 11-game winning streak. We just changed up. We decided, oh, we're gonna come out and cute and do something different and confuse them, which until it confused us.
Okay.
And we lost the football game. So with the Bengals, they just got to do what they do. And if Chase is gonna be shadowed by Ramsey, that's a one-on-one battle that somebody's gonna have to win, and you just got to deal with that.
Gotcha.
And if you're gonna, here's the thing with Cooper Kupp. You can't bring a guy off the sideline and say, we're going to play a nickel back with him. You got to take one of those starters and put him on it, and then put the nickel back at corner. Because you take a guy that hasn't played but maybe 20 snaps a game against Cooper Kupp. Oh, he's going to confuse him. He's going to have him running into linebackers and the safeties whatsoever. So you got to put a savvy, smart guy that's been playing just as many plays as he has to have an opportunity to stop Cooper Kupp. You're not gonna stop him. You can stop him on certain series, but you're not gonna contain him the whole game. But you just want to be able to not give up big explosive plays to him.
Gotcha. So I didn't know that they didn't do that. I thought that they had that in their repertoire as far as stacking the receivers. But like you said, if that's not what they do, then there's no need to try to.
They run the ball. That's their nature.
Yeah.
They're a running team. I guarantee you that Callahan, whose father coached here and one of the greatest offensive line coaches in the history of the game.
Yes.
I'm telling you, he's telling his son, just do what you've been doing. They run the ball. The Bengals are a running team.
Just do it.
You don't beat Kansas City twice.
Yeah.
Without being able to beat anybody.
Yeah, you're not throwing the ball 40 feet.
This is not a Cinderella story to me at all.
No. They know what they're doing.
So in that same vein, Merrill, what do you think that the strengths for the Rams in order to get ahead and win this game? What do you think that they need to do? What is their strength?
Well, I think we've already talked. Their strength is their front four. That's ultimately their front four. So that's why it's so important that they neutralize it. Now, something they've done better offensively since Akers has come back, they have been a little more committed to a physical approach to run on the football. Okay. And now something that I think has gone unnoticed, and listen, you don't win Super Bowls because you're a nice guy. I mean, if that was the case, there'd be a lot. I mean, Terrence would have won them. I mean, and I like Stafford. I mean, I really like his makeup. I like who he is, how he represents himself, and he represents football. Yeah, I love that. But he has not played as consistent as one might think. He's played a little better. He made the critical throw in Tampa, but he's also given. He's given a lot. He's either missed a throw he shouldn't miss,
right,
or he's made a bad throw he shouldn't make,
right.
And that's kind of happened all year long. And that hasn't gone away. Now, when you looked at the Kansas City game, here's why I always say TV lies and highlights really lie. At the end of the game, what were the CBS? Those guys were talking about how Patrick Mahomes was running for his life, right? Now, when he's running for his life, Cincinnati's just rushing 3. Exactly. And I'm like, why don't they tell us what's going on the back end? Well, I mean, I still get the tape because I still do a lot of stuff. I do the way to play program. So I couldn't wait to watch it because I'm like, what did they do on the back end? Now, Terrence will like this, and Doc might appreciate it too. It's either called spy coverage or a robber coverage. People, it's not played a lot. But what that is you can get in a quarters look and anybody could be the spy guy, but it's usually out of a cover 2 look and one of the safeties drops down, and all he's really trying to do is read the quarterback. And then if you have a particular guy, if he leads you to that guy, you help double that cross. So you got Tyreek Hill, you got Kelsey, both guys that were part of this plan. When they rushed 3, they dropped one of their guys back, either the linebacker 55 or 91, and they spied Mahomes, but helped in coverage initially. The second Mahomes couldn't throw it, then they went after him, and they got that one sack on third down.
Right.
But on the back end, I am telling you, they matched up with man. They played man in and out of cover 2, out of quarters, out of cover 3. They bracketed the right people at the right time.
Yep.
They passed people off at the right time. When I say it was one of the best schematic executions of coverage and then front look that I've seen in quite some time. I mean, think about Patrick Mahomes. If he sees a red dot, I mean, a smidgen of red jersey, that ball's coming out.
Yeah.
He didn't even throw it because
Right.
there was nobody open.
Nobody.
It was so that's why. Okay, I think Terrence mentioned Cooper Kupp. I envision them doing will be the same thing. Well, probably not, but schematically it will be. Because they did it so well, and running routes. I mean, why? I mean, playing coverage, as a group, especially man, and when you drop and you're covering and you drop, somebody almost always makes a mistake.
Right.
They did not. I'll tell you, it was like I was so impressed by after I watched them on tape. I watched it over and over because I couldn't believe how well
they played it perfectly
as a second on the back end. I still, and they did that in a week.
Right.
They got 2 weeks to get ready for this one, and that's going to be a factor in this game and how they go about that. Their defense. Everybody says, well, they're overachieving. No, they're not. They're actually underrated. If you look at them, how they play as a team defensively, like top to bottom, I mean, they are as complete and complementary. It's because there's no Aaron Donald on their team.
Right.
Or Von Miller. That's why they say that, because there's just nobody that you would say, oh, I know that guy.
Right.
Yeah. And the kid they have that's in the anchor, he was hurt. They did this with a backup. Their base run guy was hurt. I mean,
you're right. I'll tell you this, Doc, I'll let you go. But when he got hurt, I thought that defense would suffer drastically. And they have not. To your point.
I'm going to say this. I'm at my mom's game zone. I go, I'm taping there. I don't watch anything live, but I tape it all because I said, as I age, I'm just not going to force my eyes to look at garbage. I had to cover garbage for a living. So I'm like, I don't do it unless I have to. So
Doc, I'm loving you, bro.
No, I'm just telling you the truth. And
that's what I love about you.
I'm at my mom's. I say, with the game zone, I said, yeah, I'll pick it up in the second half. I go, it's probably going to be a blowout. I go, ain't no way they're going to beat them twice.
Right.
I don't bet. But if I was a betting man, I'd be broke man. And I said, I got in my car and I'm listening. I go, uh-oh. On the 1 yard line, they don't score. That's when I got in. I didn't tune in until they blew that. I said, they just left 3 points on the table.
Right.
It was 21-7, 3, something wild. I go, well, my drive is, I keep driving. They keep mounting. And I'm racing home now. I go, oh my God, it's going to be a classic. And they ended up seeing a great conclusion. You're right. It was schemed properly. That robber, and then Mahomie got so tied up, throw it away or let it go. And they played on him, and poor Andy. Think about Andy's red. I love Big Red. Big Red's been a lot of these games on the wrong side.
Right. Yeah, he has.
And so when people around him, they love him so much, they're trying.
Exactly.
But the mojo catches them because sometimes you can be too creative. That's what I love about Coach Gibbs.
Right.
We take all the science out of it. This ain't gonna be complicated.
Right.
Unless you force us into that. If you give us the line of scrimmage, it's over. If you don't, now we got a trick and we got to do we got to get them receivers involved. But if you don't, man, they icing on the cake. And look, Art Monk, Gary Clark, all them guys, they was all mad. And then they got glad because they knew once you saw it was like boxing to me. We're gonna work the body.
Oh, yeah.
We work that body on you, then we're gonna find out how manly you are. And other than the 85 Bears, when we got hurt and our guard Huff broke his ankle first quarter, we had like 61 yards on the ground we were primed for this. We lost a guard. You got to put it back. Over. McMichaels and them goons. Yeah. Because what Buddy did, Ryan did, they just, wherever you're hurting, they put their best guy over here like everybody does now. But it wasn't that prominent back in the day. Right. And I saw that and I thought, boy, I love his attack mode. They catch you bleeding, and they just go after you till you're dead.
Man, they should have had you and they should have had you and Merle doing a show together back in the day.
Merle big time, man. I was doing local, man.
Well, now, because you know Merle,
Merle
used to always tell him it's about that running game.
No. Merle is network. Okay, I hold my local down. I'm all right with it.
Merle is with a different every week. And you don't
see, Merle, this how people see, Merle, this how people try to make you feel bad about being blessed. See?
No, I am not Merle. I love Merle's interpretation of the game because I understood it. Mm-hmm. First of all, when you were still he mentioned Blunt. I had to play against Blunt as a rookie. My second year, first Monday night game ever. We're in Three River. And you don't realize how big and long this guy is. Yeah. Until we go on open formation and you're looking at him, you gotta hit that bitch hit me almost around by my neck. You see, back in the day, it was full contact.
Yeah.
Ronnie Shell, Wagner, and then I love my boy Jack Ham. And most of those guys, I love them guys to death because they were the symbol. They were it. Yeah. And the way they approached the game, it was just so exciting to see how it structures because how they play team ball. And they trap. They had a system. And them damn trap. Man, I listened to our guys. They hated that because you all of a sudden somebody's hitting you on the side of your head. I just learned so much having the Steelers as the target. You need somebody that makes you build to get to them. Otherwise, you'll never get there. And they were awesome. That was quite an experience.
I like what you guys said, and you took it, and it's so interesting, Merle, especially when you talked about the scheme playing the defense perfectly, because one of the things I hate watching is when you're watching the defense and it's whether it's quarters, cover two, whatever it is, right? And you got one guy, you got the corner saying, all right, I'm going to carry him for a certain, and then the safety should have him. But then if the safety is not there, then it's a blown coverage. Or the corner's dropping too far back and you letting the guy pick up that should be 2 yards. He done picked up 10 because you didn't drop underneath too far. So I appreciate you guys explaining and breaking that down for people to understand that everybody, especially on defense and offense, everybody's got to be doing their job for it to run like a machine. If everybody's not doing their job, once you find the one guy that's unwilling or doesn't know what he's doing, you get picked apart. So what do you guys feel like where the mismatches are? For the Bengals, and then of course what the mismatches that the Rams can exploit.
Well, defensively, I don't see any for the Bengals defense. I don't see anything that's glaring where that the Rams offense can take advantage of. I just don't see it. I would think the Bengals offensively with is it Whittle, who's been out for 2 years and he's back playing safety for them. I mean, that's an area of concern if I'm a defensive coach. But it's one that I'm gonna have to look at. If I'm an offensive coach, I'm gonna have to look at the last 2 games and see how well is he playing. Is he in good shape? Is he where he's supposed to be? Is he tackling well? Is he getting to the ball well? And that's an area of the field that I'm gonna concentrate on at first. I'm gonna say, if I'm gonna throw the ball, I'm gonna attack that area first to see where he is. Are they gonna help him? Are they gonna hide him? Whatever they're gonna do. But then other than that, we talk about the Rams so much defensively, and we talk about all the weapons the Rams have. But then you look at Cincinnati, they, like Merle said, defensively, they're just consistent. They play together, and there's no superstars, and they're locked in, and they understand that. And offensively, they have all these weapons. So if you look at it, honestly, the only X factor in this game is Aaron Donald.
I knew you was coming right. I knew you was coming right back.
That's the only X factor in this game. And if you neutralize Aaron Donald, you have a chance to win, or there's going to be a very, very exciting game. And like Merle said, I truly believe whoever has this ball last have opportunity to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to that because
Yeah.
I don't see a glaring mixed match at all across the board. I think the Bengals do something well, the Rams do something well, and it equal, it balance it out. The checks is equal on each side. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting football game. But if here's the thing and here's the thing people is not talking about. The Bengals head coach was just in the Super Bowl with McVay. So you got to understand, as his coordinator, as his quarterback coach, so he understands the process of getting ready for this game. He understands the mistakes they made 3-4 years ago getting ready for this game. So, you can't say, well, McVay has the advantage because he's coached this game. So has Zach Taylor. He's coached it also. So you can't go either way coaching wise with this because they were both together. They lost both together. They seen the faults and they seen the mistakes and I'm surely they've told their team, this is what we're not going to do this week. And this is how we're going to prepare for this week because I've been there and we did it wrong the first time.
Gotcha.
I'm going to tell you, Merle, and see if you concur with this because you do this for a living. I think people take that conference for granted. You don't realize how good Cleveland's front seven is.
Oh, yeah.
And when you play the Steelers front seven, they've already seen this at the highest level. It's not like people talking about them like they're coming in from the USFL.
Right.
No, they play them guys twice a year. And I'm just telling you, it's not going to be anything they haven't seen.
Right.
Because they play in a conference that, if you look at the two freaks the Steelers have, the two freaks that Cleveland, they saw it.
Yeah.
And Kansas City is no punks on defense.
Right.
The way Clark was playing, the way they got some people going, I just think they're being underestimated and undervalued. Yeah. I wouldn't worry about them. You should be worried more about the Rams understanding this. Because I think if you come in this thing overconfident, you're not only going to lose, you're going to get your behind whipped because they're not a punch you in the mouth team. They're a skill team. I always take the punchers.
You're right about that.
Yeah, but I could be wrong. All I'm saying is that if you saw Cleveland play, they're not in this because of their defense. They're the offense.
Right.
And the Steelers almost got in, and all due respect, bro. But it was time to go.
Yeah.
So they playing with 10 guys at times. And so the other thing I would say to you is that don't sleep on the fact that the two tight ends that are really prominent people in both sides aren't going to be themselves.
Right.
That's a new wrinkle. That's something different.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how both those tight ends. But to your point that see, everybody gets hung up on the Tennessee Titans got 9 sacks on them. Okay, the Tennessee Titans front four is no joke. I mean, they act like these guys were like they're second-rate players. Yeah. That defensive line might be could argue is one of the best in football.
Amen.
Okay, so
number one seed,
they gave up 9, okay, to a great defensive line. Now, I understand it's too many. Chris Jones is not. I mean, there's nobody that's Aaron Donald. But you talk about a train wreck. I mean, a guy can wreck your game. Is Chris Jones, and they took care of Chris Jones for the most part. They handled him at critical moments. Burrow made some plays when Chris was in a position to make plays. But if you can leave the game with Aaron Donald being like Chris Jones was in the AFC Championship game, here's where I think the ultimate mismatch is. It's the back end of the Rams. Okay, Terrence just mentioned Weddle. Okay, they actually do some things. You can tell Terrence's wisdom. They try to hide him because they play him in the box. If they play him in the box, that's where he's really good. And he actually, over the few games he's played, he's gotten better and better. You see his instincts come back. Some watch Weddle ever since he came out of Weber State. But they do put him in the back end at times, and it's a problem. I mean, if you see 20 and he's in I'm going there.
Yeah.
I mean, because he is a weakling back there.
That's got to be a check with me, huh? Okay.
Amen, brother. but you got, I mean, listen, when you look across the board as far as wide receivers, I mean, Boyd doesn't get any credit. That kid makes more plays, more plays for them.
Yeah.
I mean, Higgins is big time.
Yes.
It isn't just Chase. Now I understand Chase is a freak.
Mm-hmm.
You can't double. Okay, let's use Kansas City. You got that Cincinnati. They were able to get doubles based on their spy and dropping an extra guy in coverage for like the first second and a half in coverage on Kelsey and Tyreek Hill. The Rams can't do that. The Rams, well, first of all, they can. The Boyd will kill them. They're 3 deep.
Right.
They're not 2 deep. They're 3 deep. And and then Doc, you're right. I mean, I don't know how the tight ends will be because those guys with the Rams without their tight end, that hurts them more than Cincinnati.
Yes.
Hurts them because they have 2 backs that can be, Nixon can be dangerous out of the backfield, better than the backs for the Rams. So it's going to be a problem. If they can manage their offensive line has a day like they did in the AFC Championship game, they'll expose them on the back end.
Right. There's another thing you got to factor in. I covered a game. I was in Miami. And matter of fact, last time when the Bengals were in the game against the Niners and Crumrye got hurt in the first series. The other thing you got to factor in is, can you win with man down? Because you got to be able to win with a man down. Somebody's going to go down, and is your bench strong enough so that you can weather that storm? And people don't like to talk about it. Everybody's not going to finish the game. Right. So you get a man, Crumrye, I think it happened 91 seconds. It was something crazy first series.
All right, Cincinnati against San Francisco.
Wilson. Yeah, they lost Wilson for a drug deal the night before.
Yeah, for the night.
So they go into a game, and all of a sudden you're down 0-2. And the kid's name was, I think, Billups. Ball went a mistake. Montana went right through his breadbasket.
Yeah,
and then the next play they hit John Taylor. Yeah. And his touchdown. It could happen just like that.
Just like that.
Would have been champions. That kid would have been committing suicide a little later on in his life. So it's always going to be who handles the adversity or bad play and gets over it. Kansas City, it killed them. They could not get over the fact that they had failed in the first half.
Yeah. Get over it. Yeah.
I'm looking at the 2 players, and then I'll ask you guys who you got. The only reason I'm looking at 2 different players on the Rams is I'm looking actually at Von Miller, because like you said, Doc, I know what 99 is going to do or what he's going to try to do. I'm looking, can they get a second guy, and can Von be half of what he was or most of what he was when he was in Denver? Can he get pressure? And then Odell Beckham, this is your opportunity now. This is you got to where you want to get. Can you make a difference? I'm looking at those 2 players to see, can they make a difference? Because I agree with especially what you just said, Doc. People don't realize Cincinnati has 3 receivers. They don't have 1 or 2. They actually have 3. And Higgins got Higgins got the biggest catch radius out the 3 of them?
Yes.
So then that means Burrow doesn't have to necessarily be perfect, with the throw. If you could just get it in his catch radius, which, sometimes when you're going up against a big receiver, there's nothing you can do about that. So that's why I was looking to see, can Von Miller bring pressure himself? And then on the offensive side, because like you said, Merle, with Cooper Kupp and what he can do, but can Odell rise to the occasion?
Well, I got to run really quick, but I wanted to share this before I leave.
Okay.
I've loved every second of this, from Doc, Terrence. Otis. I wish I didn't have to go. I set something up at 8, and I apologize.
I got you. Go ahead.
But I'll just tell you this about Von Miller. Here's where I would be scared about. Von Miller is not what he once was in Denver, even when because he was trying to he's trying to transition to the Rams. I see juice now, so I'd be very concerned, about what he could do.
Before you go, who are you picking?
I think I'm going to say it's a clean game. I think Cincinnati wins 28-24.
All right. Who you got,
Yeah.
Terrence?
All
That's
right,
good stuff.
love you, boys. Thank
Hey,
you so
man,
much.
love
Love
you,
and peace
man.
for you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Stay strong.
Thanks, Mary.
You know, you don't ever want to, I'm gonna go two places with this. The sentimental is I want to go with Matthew Stafford and OBJ because of the fact that here's two guys who said, oh, they can't play for us, whatsoever. So Matthew Stafford says, hey, I've been telling you, if you put some dudes around me, I can play. And then, OBJ gets kicked out of Cleveland and he's the problem. Him and his dad is the problem, this and that, and this. And now he's in a situation where he knows his role. He knows it's Cooper Kupp's team and he knows his role and he's playing his role well. But even though he knows it's Cooper Kupp's team, he's playing like he's a number one. He's playing like he's a number one. And that's what I love about his game right now over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And then you're talking about Von Miller. I think Aaron Donald has resurrected this man's career. I think he has rejuvenated Von Miller, and it's the playoffs. And here's a chance where he can say, "Hey, you in Denver worried about my ankle and worried about my productivity. Here's a chance to show. You always try, and Doc can tell you this. There's always something that motivates you to go a little bit harder. Something somebody said, something you read, something somebody did to you. And here it is for Von Miller, OBJ, and Matthew Stafford to say, hey, you guys my last team didn't want me. I was the problem. But look at me now. And that's what most of us play for when we get older. We need things like that to motivate us to continue to play at a higher level, and I think I'm gonna have to take the Rams with this one. That's my sentimental, but as we talked about it more and we broke it down more, I'm trying to second guess myself. These Bengals are pretty doggone good, Doc.
Yeah.
No, they are. So are the Rams.
Yeah.
Von Miller, I couldn't let him beat me. It's up to those backs have got to take a part of his short ribs home with him.
Yeah.
One of the reasons of losing the tight end, but maybe the other guy is a better blocker.
Exactly.
Because what you really need is to punch him. Ain't nobody undersized beating me. Not in a winner take all bout.
Right.
Because I got a way to come at you and pick at you and distract you. But that's why I'm going power. I'm putting tight end. I'm running right at him. First, you got to play the run.
Right.
See, everybody, he wants it to be third and long. I don't want to. I'm gonna stay out of third.
That's what he wants. That's what he wants.
I'm gonna be busting them short ribs. I'm telling you, that's why.
Because you frustrate them when they got to play the run.
Because I know he's looking at his career and he's thinking, this could be it.
This could be my last game.
So he's gonna be ready.
Oh, he's gonna come out.
I have to counter that and say, unless they put him on the same side as 99, which they usually don't.
Right.
Then I'm gonna pick on him. See, I'm using him as a target in my running game. I'm saying we're gonna break him down. We'll run away from Aaron, and we'll break him down, and then we'll flip it. But it's got to be, as you said earlier, within what we normally do. This is what we do anyway. He ain't the first badass we played. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. The boy in Cleveland's better than he is. They played people better than him.
Right.
That's what you got to say if you're Cincinnati. Hey, man, this is nothing new for us.
Right.
We just get to go do it out in a beautiful 70-degree environment instead of being caught up. They don't even have an indoor facility. Mike Brown and them, man, they won't spend a dime on anything. Right. But I tell you what, I think Vegas wins. The way we're now betting all over the country, this is going to be the most money ever thrown out in the history of sports.
Right.
Because it's that competitive.
It's that competitive.
And it's really unknown.
I gotta
have to threaten me to say who I think will win, because the Rams disappointed the hell out of me when they let the Niners come back from 17 down at home and beat them. They could have had 9 in a row.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like the fact that anybody could do that to you.
Right.
In December?
Yeah. It should never happen.
No. See, that's why I'm saying if I were to bet on it, I think Cincinnati, because the character of the Rams right now, you making me doubt you.
Yeah.
Because you let a man beat you 6 times straight.
And all the pressure is actually on the Rams, not
Oh,
because
it's all the Rams. Oh,
not
the Bengals,
because they play in Cincinnati. People don't understand they have mortgaged the future for right
Oh
now.
yeah, I love what they did.
So
Because
you got to go get it. You got to
and if they get it,
then
boy,
it's
they
worth
finna
it.
wind this thing up. It's gonna be crazy because everybody wants to go play. You'll play for less to be in LA.
But check this out. I got a Timmy Smith for you out of this game, and it's on the Rams, and it depends on if Sean McVay runs him, and that's Sony Michel.
I knew he was gonna say Sony Michel.
That's Sony Michel.
Bad boy.
If you
then I'd be with the Rams. Then if I knew that, I don't believe they'll stick. It ain't who they are.
No,
but if that's who they were, if that's who Sean, I love Sean. One of the great brains I've ever met. Love him, and that's the beauty about it. Not having a horse in a race is so comforting.
Okay.
Because hey man, when you cover your team, you what Atlanta went through this year, man, it beats you up.
It kills you. It kills you.
It beats you. I'm a noodle. I've been beaten up so bad.
Look at my team. Hey Terry, it got so bad. Because like I say, normally Doc and I'm talking to him through Twitter, right? On Sundays, right? That Dallas game, I knew not to. I didn't even want to talk to Doc, and I knew Doc didn't want to talk either. So it was like,
no, I tweeted during the game. I mean,
no, you tweeted, but I wasn't going to hit you. I wasn't going to hit you directly because I was so sick. I was not the first game, the second one.
Second game killed me. It just hurt me in my heart.
I feel you, man.
I just, and I'm never going to change. This is what keeps me juiced up. I'm pulling for them, but they don't have. See, we made more money with winning. I think the league has made a couple of big mistakes.
Oh yeah.
I would rather see the incentive to be $1 million per player for the winner of Super Bowl, or $1.5 million per player.
Then they go get it.
But some guys make more money by not going to the playoffs, per week, or whatever. And back in our day, if you ever hear the video in the Rose Bowl, Joe said it was $72,000 for winning. That's what we was in there for. We're going to get that cash.
Right.
So it was we all talked about it. Between us, 72,000 between us and the Dolphins. Who wants it? It was all financial.
Right.
But now if your belly's already fat and your bank account's fat, I don't see guys willing to die.
Right.
Play with a broken ankle.
It's a different game. Guys trying to live forever.
It's a different athlete. It's a different athlete.
Oh my God. I have never seen if you call yourself a Pro Bowl, All Pro, Hall of Fame ballot type receiver, you got to play all 16, 17 games for me. You can't say, oh, I got a toe injury and I'm going to miss 3 weeks. What? If I had a toe injury and missed 3 weeks, I won't play again. Because
the crazy part is what y'all saying. What the crazy part about it too is that they're making more money. Well, so what I mean, Doc, is the crazy part is they're making more money. No, I know you're glad they're making more money. Where I'm going with it is you making more money, so you should be willing to, as the example you use, Doc, to be able to die on the field because you're making more money that you should be able to retire with. Whereas it's like, nah, I gotta come back.
No, but they don't have that thinking. Here's the thinking. I make more money. If I get hurt, it's gonna mess up my next contract where I can make more money. So I'm gonna sit out and I'm not gonna play as much because look, in 2 years I got a chance to make more money. But if I'm hurt, I can't make that money. But then here you go, your backup is making $1 million, $1.5 million, and you're going, shoot, look, I just go in and make, I ain't even trying to be the starter right now because he the dude. So look, it don't make no sense for me to go out there and play hard either. And I'm going, what is that?
Oh, see, you know that because I had an agent. I did an interview with Mason Ash. And he didn't call the player, but he said what you just said, Terry. He said he had a client that say, what do I have to do to get paid but not play?
Yeah.
Like he would go call it. He said, so he was like, what? He said the dude because he didn't really want to do nothing else. But at the same time, he really wasn't trying. He was just trying to do enough just to keep getting paid. But this game sets up, Terrence, do you think, before I let you guys go, Terrence, do you think this game sets up like the game you played in against Minnesota?
Ooh,
It was a killer.
I think you've seen a couple of those games during the playoffs already.
Right. So, now, does it feel like, does it kind of feel the same way?
Another one. I think you're going to get another one just like it. You're going to get another one. That's been the playoffs. Has there even been a blowout in the playoffs this year?
I don't think so. I think we won 4 quarters.
It's been 4 quarter games.
They started out as blowouts.
They started out as blowouts, but it didn't end that way.
Because one thing about you guys, with you guys, and I was guilty of it, I'm looking like, okay, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Jake Reed, Robert Smith, you know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at all this, right? They ain't got but one loss, undefeated at home, kicker ain't missed the field goal, and that doggone Chuck Smith. And then you had you and Mike Haynes and Tony Martin, man. And you guys was sitting there like, they must don't know how good we are. Like everybody talking about we can't play.
Well, that's the same thing the Cincinnati Bengals are thinking.
That's why I said that.
Rams, and they think we can't play. And that's the thing. And so you go in there, it's personal now. It's personal now. Like, for instance, we went into that NFC Championship game, Tony Martin and I said, oh, Chris Carter and Randy Moss, they must don't know who we are. And we finished the game with more catches, more yards, and more touchdowns than both of them. And we high-fiving. And I seen you, Doc, with your cigar in your hand. I'm in the locker room. I was smoking cigars before Joe Burrows was doing it. He probably wasn't even born when I was smoking my cigar in 98.
I was smoking college. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I've always got a stick. I'm like, but that night in the Dirty Bird, oh, y'all going back to the red helmet?
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
I heard they're going back to the red helmet. Okay.
I don't know.
Hey man, I'll never forget that. And that's exactly what relates to this game.
It does.
Because you're right. That was a great call, man. And I just wanted to go, just give me to the 2-minute warning with no winner.
Yes.
I need a product. I'm watching for halftime. I'm straight up.
Oh, my boy Snoop and well, hold up, Doc. Because I'm a historian now. Your Super Bowl was the same way. You got the Miami Dolphins coming in, not too far removed from, had a undefeated season years ago. You got Don Shula, nobody knows. Hold up, watch it. Nobody knows Joe Gibbs a genius yet. It hadn't happened yet, right? And everybody figured, well, John Riggenister, John O. Nobody knows really. I'm talking about the world doesn't know who Charlie Brown is. They don't know who Charlie Brown. And like you said, it comes to this. You guys didn't change who you were and say, give it to the Diesel. Let's go. Orphan one, give it to you on that line. Everybody knew you was running the ball, but can you stop it? Next thing you know, Riggins has a signature moment, in the Super Bowl. So you guys, right? Those things comes down to even just watching Georgia against Alabama. I finally got a Georgia team that say we want it.
Yeah,
forget that this is Nick Saban, Alabama. We want this thing.
Yeah, it's personal. You man, just like me. You think you better than me? Like Doc said. You think I ain't gonna hit you in the mouth? I'm gonna hit you in the mouth.
Yeah.
And how you deal with it is gonna determine how I'm gonna keep hitting you. So and that's the way.
It's the only way we can win.
Yep.
Yeah, only way you can win. But then again, defense. I'm excited. I mean, I care. I'm so into this one this year that I'm just not going anywhere. I'm just going because I don't like Super Bowl part. I don't
either.
Yeah. I don't do none of that. But because I had to go to work the next day, I'm still going to be on the air.
Right.
But I have an obligation to actually have a reaction to whatever happens.
Right.
And I can't do that, sipping and dipping and hanging out.
And people laughing and talking and walking.
Yeah, I have to. I'm like you guys. I actually have to hear the game.
Right
I gotta
here
hear the game.
in the cave
Same here.
And then I will enjoy that. Or if somebody lures me out, which means I'm gonna get paid, then I'm taping it. And as soon as I leave the event, I come home and watch the whole thing play by play.
Hey Doc, I was gonna be at home watching the game. I get a phone call and it says, "Hey, I need you to come and shake some hands, sign some autographs, and we're gonna pay you for it." And I was like, "Dang it, I'm going to get paid to watch the game."
Go on to get the money now.
Hey,
give me that.
I'm still available. Somebody want to call, but
Yeah.
so far, and I didn't even hustle for it because I really do want to watch this.
Yeah.
And I want to. And we had this thing about the new name. So we did all that last week. I like, you know what? Let me focus, watch this thing. And then when I knew Snoop, and then at halftime, I go, I got to see that. And second one I missed after about 20 in a row. And it's like, I don't miss going to LA because if it was in New Orleans,
maybe.
Or Atlanta. See, Atlanta, I had the most fun.
Well,
it's like, but it was still going to the convention. I want everything condensed. That's what New Orleans. It was right there.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's right there. And Miami was, and you can use this as a question down the road, but Vegas. Now I will be at that one. I may not be at the game, but I have to be in Las Vegas when Super Sunday's there.
Yeah.
I just got to feel it. I want to feel that.
Well,
that's my next one.
But Doc, ain't nothing like Miami though.
No, but I tell you what, Atlanta for the Final Four in Atlanta. I don't know how y'all live there. That's why I say I could never live there. I say that's why the cats. It should be a dynasty in Atlanta, but you can't get people to go to work, man. You can't. It's just.
Hey, man.
It's too much.
People used to ask me, Doc, how can you play at that level living in Atlanta? And I'll go, hey, man, I said, I grew up here, so it's easier for me.
You was immune to it.
Yeah, Terrence will say, I'm born and raised in Atlanta.
Where all the toys and the candy shops are and all that stuff.
You're immune to it.
And I'm immune to it.
Well, it's like from LA. I go LA at the NBA All-Star game there, and all the events, it's not my favorite. It's too big.
Right.
New York, you couldn't even tell it was a Super Bowl when it was in New Jersey.
Right.
Because you don't Times Square. Well, they're always that way.
It's always that way.
But I would love if they have one in Tennessee because Memphis is a lot of fun. Memphis is on the low down.
Memphis different at night. Yeah, Memphis.
And that barbecue, because I got to eat the food. It's got to, I mean, the varsity out in Atlanta, I got things I can't translate on the open air in Atlanta, but I'm telling you what, y'all always top 3 all time because it's a young man's opportunity. You know what I mean?
Black Hollywood. That's what we call it. Black Hollywood.
And again, based on what Tyler Perry has done, it's bustling.
Yeah,
it's just seeing it. I see the expansion.
Yeah.
I saw the Black Circus. I was there for that. I went to the aquarium deal. I was there for hoops. And I said, let me try this. Fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean, really, the first circus I seen when the Soul Circus.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, it was like, I go, how do y'all live with this at this access
every
24/7?
But it's funny you say that, Doc, like Terrence said. I mean, like you said, you get immune because sometimes Terrence can tell you, people like, man, I was in Atlanta and this was going on, man. It was popping, it was this. And sometimes when you've been here so long, you're like, really? When all that? Because you just going on with your everyday life. So you
Houston
don't even
ain't
know.
no joke either now. Super Bowl in Houston, last one was in Houston. No, there's a lot to be thankful for. But right now it's just staying healthy with the pandemic. And that's why I don't go nowhere anyway. I don't want to be. That's the other main reason why I ain't interested in going nowhere right now. But you brothers keep it real, man.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the show and blessing me with your presence again. I'm going to drop this Saturday before the Super Bowl.
Okay, good deal.
All right. So stay safe and stay blessed.
Man. I love the great.
Yeah, get it for me, and we stay in touch, brother.
You want me to send it to him? You want me to send it to him, Terrence?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right.
Peace.
Peace out.